My guest on this week's episode is a powerhouse of a woman and my best friend for over 30 years. I know we don't look it, but she's a cultural strategist, a project management specialist, and a social entrepreneur whose work bridges creativity, advocacy, and sustainability. Who am I talking about? Her name is Kim C. Butcher. This episode is brought to you in collaboration with Inspo, the social network for industry insights, knowledge sharing, and thought leadership. Do you aspire to an uncomplicated and fulfilling way of life? I'm Diane Squires, aka Deanne. That's what all my friends call me. I'm an island woman living on the island of Barbados and walking my path to a big and simple life. Walk with me and learn with me. Welcome to the Island Woman Podcast.
Hi, how are you?
I am really, really good. I'm happy that we're having this conversation because I know that we said we would for a long time
Yes.
now. But before we start, let me tell my audience a little bit about you, a little bit more about you, because there's a lot to know.
Okay.
So most recently, Kim has served as program director for CariFesta 15, the Caribbean's largest cultural festival, where she led with a focus on innovation, inclusion, and greening practices, ensuring that festivals leave a positive cultural and environmental legacy. As the founder and designer of Okoye by Kim, a sustainable lifestyle brand sold in Barbados, Trinidad, and Jamaica, Kim champions ethical fashion and inclusive design. She is a passionate advocate for gender based violence awareness and uses her platforms to amplify voices and create safe spaces for women and girls. Kim also creates content to educate and inspire. Her LinkedIn series, for example, My Voice is My Visa, and her other series, Voice Notes from the Village, which really takes stock of the behind the scenes of festival production in Barbados. These offer practical insights into her work as a festival producer and event specialist. Kim, welcome again.
Thank you so much. I love that intro. Wow, I was
I
impressed.
know. Yeah, somebody could hire me as their hype woman because I
Yes.
can hype things up. Anyway, let's start with a question that I've been asking other founders as I go through this season, which I think is really interesting. If you had to create a survival kit for a Caribbean woman entrepreneur and you could only include three items, what would you pack and in what priority? So, three items in order of priority.
3 items in order of priority for
Mm-hmm.
survival.
For a survival kit for a Caribbean woman entrepreneur.
Well, the first thing would have to be an OBK belt, for sure.
Well,
That has to be number one because our mantra is wear your waist. And let me tell you, our belts have taken women from men across many a platform. So I think dressing for confidence and having that belt, yep, once you put it on, you're armed and ready to go. The
right.
second thing that I would have as an entrepreneur would be that bank card. Can't leave home without it. Okoye means strength, resilience, and marketplace. That cha-ching is important. Never underestimate how money can help change a situation or circumstances. And the last thing that I would take would be something faith-based. Because when you are an entrepreneur, you have to have delusional faith and confidence in everything that you do. So whether it is your Jesus, your Buddha, your whatever, your granny, you take something that is going to give you that inspiration, that's going to give you that intestinal fortitude when everything else is running amok. So those would be my 3 things that I would take as a female entrepreneur operating in this Caribbean space.
I like it. And you said the number one priority there was the Okoye by Kim belt,
Okoye by
right?
Kim.
So, guys, we're going to get into that and into her business. I just want to ask Kim, because we touched on that idea of faith, but this was a later question, but I wondered all those things that I mentioned about you, there is a lot that you do. What drives you? Have you identified if there's a specific belief or a set of beliefs or perspectives that lead you to do all that you do?
I believe that me and my brand, I sit at an interesting intersection.
Mhm.
I am a child of the 70s. So I grew up seeing how hard my parents worked. And I saw life before social media. And
Yeah.
I am planning for a future with another generation that lived and thrived in a social space. So
Yeah.
I think what drives me is understanding that there is a legacy of the hard work that my parents laid the foundation for. And I can also see that there's a future ahead of me that I have a real hand in shaping. So that is what drives me, understanding that I am the bridge of two different worlds and I have an opportunity to really leave a lasting legacy beyond what would have been a traditional legacy. I'm leaving a brand, I'm leaving a name, I'm leaving product, I'm leaving a framework for how you can move forward. And that is what drives me.
Feeling lost in the noise of social media? Inspo cuts through the clutter, connecting you directly with real insights from real experts and industry leaders. It's a new social network dedicated to knowledge sharing, industry insights, and thought leadership. Get the latest from top minds in your field, or build your own thought leadership portfolio on Inspo. Already trusted by thousands of professionals worldwide, be part of the conversation and download Inspo Experts today on the App Store or visit www.inspo.expert.
I talk a lot about living a big and simple life. That's kind of balancing your ambition and your well being. But this series specifically, we're talking about how we can balance having and maximizing our economic impact, but also remaining well. Those are kind of two things that we have to balance. What's your take on that, making an economic impact while maintaining your well-being? Are there any rules that you have for yourself? Is there one that takes over more than the other sometimes? How do you manage that?
I have broken every rule. I wish I could say that I was a poster child for balance, for health and wellness. I think that it is incredibly difficult balancing work and family life and private life. I feel like we are now so connected all the time that you have to be intentional about stepping away. So it's not so much that you have a 8:30 to 4:30 or a 9 to 5. And when you run your own business, you slot out time for that. I think that we are always so plugged in because of social media, because of technology, that it has been a struggle. And now that I am in another chapter of my life, dealing with things like perimenopause and menopause and all the things that nobody tells you about, that it has been a challenge. I woke up one morning and I was 20 pounds heavier. And I was like, I felt like I was walking around in a fat suit. But what I can tell you is that I do have very good best friends that will and can help keep me accountable. And I'm working on it. I'm trying to give myself as much grace as possible. I started the brand with a slogan, "Wear your waist because you are beautiful." And then my own waist disappeared.
Mm,
So it's looking at myself and being honest and saying, hey, you know what? This is from late night eating. This is from not getting enough rest. But I am committed to looking at myself honestly and giving myself grace when I need to, and realizing that every day is a new day to make an improvement. So it's like Kaizen steps. I'm not at the point where it's, oh my God. I'm at the point and this is the body that I have now. Let's see how we can love it the same way.
yeah. Yeah. If I want to put the level of your ambition on a scale, if you will allow me. So if we go from your sense of drive to scaling your business, Okoye by Kim, to a multi-million dollar globally impactful enterprise. Zero, not a priority, to 10, that's your life mission. Where are you on that scale?
Girl, I'm fully delusional. I am fully delusional.
Which is a fully
So,
delusional is a 12.
yeah, yeah. On the 1 to 10, yeah, I'm there. And you have to have such confidence and focus in what it is that you believe and the impacts that you intend to make. That you have to be you gotta take risks. You have to be understanding that you're gonna fail forward. Like I know what I'm doing is the right thing for me, and it doesn't need to sound good to anybody else. I don't need to convince anybody. I just know that what I'm doing is what I was meant to do. And how I've redefined success for me isn't the same for everybody else. So I don't need to have $1 million in the bank. I don't need to have a lot of material things for me to consider something successful. And the other thing is knowing when to quit with something. If something isn't working, say, okay, well, this particular product, and I learned this in manufacturing. Belt A, amazing, love it, beautiful, well made. Nobody bought it.
Yeah.
The only person who liked it was me. And I had to say, you know what? Understand your customer and know that if you fail, it's a fail forward. There's a lesson in that as well. So I am delusional about what it is I want to do, and
Yeah.
nobody else can be. So I wake up every morning being the CEO of my life.
Right. So multi-million dollar globally impactful enterprise, you're all in on that.
Man, yeah, man. All
Okay.
in.
All right. So that's a 10. And then if we put your sense of well-being, I know you went into a little bit of how the trade-offs that you've had, especially recently, on that. But if we put that on the scale now, where your personal well-being, your sense of freedom, your sense of having time outside of work or other life things, if you put that on the scale from 0, which is constantly stressed, to 10, which is perfectly balanced, what number would you think represents you today, well-being wise?
I think I'm about a 4. Um, I'm at a 4, but that's going to change very, very quickly because there's some things that I'm coming to the end of some projects and I'm going to be starting some others, but I'm taking an intentional break in the month of November to really recalibrate and ensure that I'm fine, that I am fit for purpose. So
Yeah.
I've had to intentionally say no to opportunities that may have been financially lucrative, but the body that I am in needs to be able to sustain it. So yeah, I'm at a 4 right now, and it's an honest 4. It's an honest.
Yeah, and I guess the thing is that you can think of, I asked you, I said it's on a scale, and that's the thing. With a scale, you can move up or down the scale as you evolve. Things might change. So these are numbers. Your 10 is a current number, globally impactful enterprise, but it sounds like that's more of a long-term
Yeah.
goal. Sure. And then the 4 is kind of on a sliding scale, like we all are. Let's get into a little bit more of the business Okoye by Kim. You are doing what you say is all to both. And for those people who are not Barbadian, that means that you're more than likely juggling or balancing both having a full-time thing and doing your business, which may also be full-time or it might be a side hustle. But tell us about Okoye by Kim, what the business is and what it does, Kim.
Okay. So Okoye by Kim is a Barbadian lifestyle brand. We are in the business of creating products and services that serve our community. Our community is Black Caribbean women. So we make transitional accessories because I am a believer in sustainable fashion and shopping your shape and your wardrobe. We wanted women to feel comfortable in their skin. And there's nothing like feeling cinched and snatched when you are getting ready to go out. So we do make obi wrap belts. We have some Adina shirts and kimonos, etc. But everything that we make is quite purposeful, and there is a message behind all of our products. So we have a Catch My Hand grant. We have a VEX Money purse because women need to know when they go out. They have agency that you have that VEX Money. So a lot of our products tell our Caribbean story. So aside from
Yeah.
our products, I
Yeah.
have a show which is called Buy from Boat A.
Mhm.
Again, very Bajan, celebrating Barbadian entrepreneurs. We did 2 seasons with just over 110 entrepreneurs coming on, sharing their unique brand stories. These are people who had to pivot, turning their passion into purpose and then profits. So I am all about storytelling and finding ways to monetize the gifts that I have. The reason why I always say it's the all to both, because I'm using all of my skills. I do have academic qualifications, I'm using them. I have some technical, I'm using them. I have some fashion and design. I'm using those as well. So in 2026, we're moving into Okoye Corporate. We're going to see a set of services that really and truly expand on my project management experience, my
Mhm.
communication experience, and event management as well. So when I say a lifestyle brand, I am a representation of what women at my age look like professionally. We're juggling family, we're juggling our interests, and we're turning our interests into profits. And we went to school. So there's some academic qualifications again that we are going to use and to leverage. So I consider myself to be a generalist, and my brand is an extension of who I am and the
Gotcha.
women who are in the same boat. There are a lot of bakers out there who are accountants. There are a lot of dressmakers out there who are financial analysts or CEOs. They have all of these skills. And in this lifetime, I'm putting it all on the table. I'm using everything in my arsenal. So Okoye really is a representation of that.
Right. For those people who don't know what VEX Money is and Catch Your Hand, explain that to the people who might be in the US and Canada and Europe, all those. What does that mean? And
Yeah.
what products came out of those colloquial sayings that we have as Barbadians and Caribbean people?
So I'll start with a little bit of a story. So
Yeah.
whenever I would leave home, my parents would make sure that I always had what they consider to be VEX money. So
Mm-hmm.
that if something happens where I am, I have the agency to make decisions for myself. I'm not depending on friends or a boy to ensure that I get home safely, that I get something to drink, that I have that agency to be able to take care of myself. So we call it VEX money because if I vex, this is my ticket out. I don't have to depend on somebody else to go and to leave. And the other thing now is our catch my hand grant. Now, there's a saying in Barbados, I can pay you when I catch my hand. It means
Yeah.
when I'm able to do so. So what I wanted to do with my brand is that I wanted to provide an opportunity for other entrepreneurs to be able to benefit from my sales. So every time someone buys an OBK belt, part proceeds is gifted to another entrepreneur to help them get to their next sale. Sometimes you need $50. Sometimes you need even $100 to help you get to the next thing. Sometimes it's just the gas money to get to where it is that you need to get to. And
Yeah.
those things are important, so that's how we started the Catch My Hand grant and the VEX Money purse.
Okay, so Catch Me Hat is a grant, and the VEX Money was a
Yes.
purse, and you have the OB belts, Okoye by
Yes.
Kim belts, and then you're moving into Okoye by Kim corporate by
Yes.
2026. So this is, as you say, it's a full lifestyle brand, but you started somewhere. You started with the belts. If you had a room full of 20 or 25 um female entrepreneurs, Caribbean women specifically, who are either starting out or they feel a little bit stuck. They are on an entrepreneurial journey, but it's rough. What's the kind of advice you would give them?
I would say seek out like-minded community. Seek out an ecosystem. Someone who's where you're at, who can understand, look at people who are where you want to be and not be intimidated and see how you can engage and find mentorship. And I would say journal, to be honest. Sometimes everybody doesn't have to know everything. They don't. They really, really don't. So do journal, and a journal doesn't have to be something in writing. You can do it as a video, because that's
Video.
one of the things that I used to do as well when I would be
Yeah, me
working
too.
on the road. But yeah, find community and find community that is supportive, and do a lot of research. Look at women who are doing things that you want to do one day, but understanding that you have a clear voice. It can be a little intimidating um, to only look at the aspiration and not see people who are in the same boat that you are in. It becomes very demoralizing when you're just saying, oh my goodness, these people are doing all these wonderful things, and not
Yeah,
realizing that there are people who are at the same level that you're at.
yeah.
And lastly, just writing down what it is that you want and keeping it to yourself, not sharing it with the world. Because some things are private and sacred. I think we have gotten into a space where people put every single striking thing on social media, every single striking thing. And there are just some things that really should just remain between you and your Jesus.
When I started the series, I read in an IDB report somewhere, it was a 2015 report, that between 2000 and 2010, the growth in women's income was responsible for raising the Caribbean and Latin America out of poverty. So it reduced poverty by about 30%. And that statistic stays with me. Like, I feel like every day I'm referencing that in some way because I feel like we have seen that in our lives as Caribbean women. Yes, we've seen the men be breadwinners, but we know that when the women grow their income, somehow that gets sprinkled and spread around the household, the community, everywhere, and things start to grow. What's your perspective on entrepreneurship as a way that women can continue to make their economic impact?
Okay, I think that what you said is absolutely accurate. I think when women have financial autonomy, they can change the world. And we do it every single day, whether we are the breadwinner or we are the person managing the breadwinner. We are the neck all the time. You can't do anything without your neck. And I'm seeing every day young women and mature women making real changes um, in significant ways that we ignore all the time. And they influence in ways that we don't, again, always recognize,
Recognize,
because
yeah.
we see the man as the CEO or the CFO or the head of the household, or but there is always a secretary, a girl Friday, a senior manager, a director who's a woman who's making a lot of decisions, and they are just they I don't want to say their mouthpiece, but we are very instrumental in changing a lot of things that are happening, especially in the Caribbean. I'm going into a lot of rooms now where women are dominating the space. And because they're dominating the space, there's more compassion when we think about things like climate change, when we think about sustainability, when we
Yeah,
think about resilience, all of those buzzwords. Women are behind those stories and pushing that agenda because we are really and truly the future. There is no future without women.
for
And
sure.
our inability to get access to finance is something that is a heavy conversation, but I think it is changing. We're getting more access. I'm seeing more lead hers. I'm seeing more edgy. I'm seeing more opportunities where women are getting the kind of financial support which they need to be able to take things to the next level.
Hmm. Yeah, I do have more of a thought on that, which I think we can tackle at another time. But I also think that it's key for organizations and other people who are assisting women founders to understand the kind of role that they play in their community, home, church, and school, and understand that if you're running a program for women founders, you're also running a program for their community as well. You have to draw the community in and really say, look, these women here, this is a contribution they need to make. This is how we would like for you to support them, or this is what they're actually really contributing and why it's so important for you. So that's a whole other long conversation that I've written on. But I've been really happy to talk to you for this short period today. How can people find out more about Kim Butcher, the event specialist, the Okoye by Kim founder, the cultural storyteller? Where can they find you and learn more?
You can find me at Okoye by Kim. You can send me an email at kim@okoyebykim.com. You can
Yeah.
find me on LinkedIn at Kim C. Butcher. You can give me a call at 266-0779. Our area code in Barbados is 1246, because people reach out to me from all over the world with questions and comments, especially to some of the articles that I write. So yeah, you can find me on almost every social media platform, from Instagram to Facebook, either at Okoye by Kim or using my name, Kim Butcher.
Okay. Well, it has been fantastic to have you, Bestie and Kim C. Butcher. To all of you, I hope that you note those down. We'll leave her contact information down in the description box on YouTube, and we'll also leave them in the show notes on Spotify and all the other podcast platforms. So thank you so much for your time. It has
Thank
been
you.
brilliant to have you on the Island Woman podcast.
Yes, we
Finally.
finally, finally. I want to say that I'm very proud of you, Deanne. This is
You.
uh, I'm a great fan of Island Woman because Island Woman is an Okoye woman, and you are giving voice to a lot of women, and that is what's important.
Yeah.
Every woman needs to have a space and a cheerleader, and I applaud the work that you're doing.
Thank you very, very much. Thanks so much again, Kim.
Alrighty, thank you. Bye bye.
I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Kim C. Butcher, my best friend. Told you she's a powerhouse. All right. That is it for now. If you've made it to the end of this episode with me and Kim, thank you so much for taking the time. If you liked it, make sure to share it with a friend or leave a comment or do both. And if you watch this on YouTube, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Both those things are free, so do it. Remember to click the bell icon to get notified every time a new episode goes live. This has been episode 2, season 3 of the Island Woman podcast. I'm your Island Woman, Diane Squires, aka Deanne. Until next time, peace.